Hail, what is up? Keasbey here, and we've got more Memento support. Okay, so let's take a look. Just a reminder, in the next TCG set release, we are getting Memento Attic Ghost, which we talked a little bit about in the introduction to Memento video, so check out the playlist that this video is on for that one. Okay, so let's look at the newer upcoming support. We've got Memento Twin Dragon, a retrain of our current Nightmare Troubadour boss monster and former Forbidden Memories boss monster, Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon, and a fusion spell simply named Memento Fusion. Kicking it off, we're going to take a quick read of Twin Dragon, so level 7 Thunder with 28 over 2100 stats, and obviously it is a fusion monster. I mentioned in the intro video as well, Combined Creation does specifically say shuffle back into the main or extra deck, so yeah, forward planning came through there. Additionally, Thunder typing means that this deck can still rock There Can Be Only One, despite it having recently been limited, since we still have no typing overlap monster to monster. The materials for this are 2 Memento monsters, so nothing overly specific there, and we can use same names. We've got 3 effects on this with 2 activated effects that are both hard once per turns. First, on Fusion Summon, you can destroy a Memento monster in your hand or on field, and if you do, add up to 2 Memento monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. So let's break this down. First and foremost, this, like the other Destroy to Do Something effects, does not target, nor is the destruction a cost. So case in point, if you summon this and your opponent destroys it, so long as you have another Memento on field or in your hand, you can, and actually must, resolve this effect. Next, if it's impermed or otherwise negated, no destruction will occur. Next, this 100% can act as a combo starter. While Memento has no shortage of direct combo lines, Anguish and Darkblade both act as 1-card lines to Combined Creation, Field Spell plus Darkblade leaves you with everything, and Field Spell plus Anguish, Mace, or Tatsuno Toshigo all leave you with at least 2 out of 3 of your major points of interaction. This being a fusion monster does enable you to potentially turn some of your non-field spell containing hands into at least 2 of 3 points of interaction on your end board, so pretty solid there. Granted, you'd need to open the fusion spell and at least 2 Memento monsters, but we play a pretty high mass of those, so it's more about whether or not you get the field spell into rotation. Not to jump ahead, but the field spell is searchable via Mace, so the existence of this monster alone does greatly improve the Mace plus field spell open. Again though, we'll get into the fusion spell in a bit. Overall, this first effect is a very welcome addition. The next activated effect is if this fusion summoned card is destroyed, you can special summon a level 6 or lower Memento monster from your graveyard. So the first thing I want to say is this effect implies the potential for additional support even after this. Currently there are no level 6 Memento monsters. Tatsuno Toshigo is only a 5, and Horned Dragon is the next level up, being an 8. And so far this archetype, everything that implied more support has come through and we've gotten it. Next, in a deck where everything is about destruction, this can be pretty solid as a potential extender. Remember that Memento monsters aren't limited to destroying just themselves, rather other Memento monsters in general. So a potential open where you have Tatsuno Toshigo, the field spell, and this becomes absolutely huge, letting Tatsu destroy Twin Dragon, sending an additional 2 levels worth of monsters. Those extra 2 can be Attic Ghost, which will immediately summon itself, really awesome there. Not to mention the additional names for Combined Creation, and the fact that the field spell will let you revive one of those monsters that you sent via Tatsu, and you'll be left with Tatsu on the field as a potential material for link summons later down the line. Also worth mentioning that Twin Dragon can self-destruct to use its own effect, which will give you both the searches and the potential to special summon via both the field spell and Dragon's own effect as well. And lastly, the continuous effect turns all of your Memento monsters into Dark Magician of Chaos, banishing anything that they destroy by battle. I'm actually not overly thrilled with this effect. While it is strong, it needing to be on the field to grant this effect to other monsters does turn off Combined Creation's ability to attack all monsters, so it's a bit of non-synergy there. I honestly don't think you're generally going to be using this card specifically for this effect though, and much more for its ability to start, extend, or alter your combo lines as needed. But with Attic Ghost coming out, our end boards do have a lot more potential to end on a Link 2, such as IP Masquerena, or fun Link plays with a potential Mace activation, or just go directly into SP Little Knight if you want to really pump some generic power into this deck. By the way, ending on Combined Creation and IP Masquerena, and then using your opponent's monster that you get off a Mace activation to go into SP Little Knight on your opponent's turn is such a power move. Really, really fun. So that's it for Twin Dragon. Let's talk about the fusion spell. So it is a quick play, but we already have a little bit of Prank Kids Pandemonium going on with it in that it can only be used during the main phase. Either main phase on either turn granted, but just a main phase. Already this creates some really cool synergy with Horned Dragon. If you can end on Horned Dragon and access to this fusion spell, during your opponent's main phase, you can fuse into Twin Dragon, then use Twin Dragon's effect to destroy Horned Dragon, giving you access to Mace and Goblin at the same time if you have Combined Creation on field, or one of your starters for next turn. Then with Horned Dragon, you can destroy 2 face-up cards your opponent controls, and the Twin Dragon that you still have on your field. And remember, Horned Dragon mandatory destroys one of your own Memento cards as well, which will then trigger Twin Dragon, letting you special summon a level 6 or lower Memento monster from your graveyard. Currently, there isn't really anything that would be majorly impactful here, sans maybe Darkblade if you need to deal with a problematic back row, but every wave of support has hinted at something in the future. Anguish said a level 2 or lower Memento monster when none existed, then Addict Ghost a level 2 was announced, Combined Creation specified extra deck when no monsters existed, and then we got Twin Dragon, so I think there's a solid chance for a level 6 to come out that hopefully has an impactful on-summon effect to take advantage of with this. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, so quick play, covered. It is a hard once per turn on both its effects, which is fine, not ideal, but fine. So the main effect is actually a semi-generic fusion effect. It can summon any fusion monster, just with the caveat that you must use a Memento monster as material. Funny enough, this gives us access to Guardian Chimera plays, which going second can not only act as some board clearing, but can also draw some cards. As an add-on to this effect, if a Memento monster in your possession was destroyed by card effect this turn, you can not only use materials from hand or field, but additionally from your graveyard as well, and they will be all shuffled back into the deck. Obviously, the Guardian Chimera play can't use materials from the graveyard, as its fusion materials must be from hand or field, but if you're using this as intended to summon Twin Dragon, it's great since the Twin Dragon will then immediately refill 2 names for you on its own summon. Really, really cool as well. I've actually been playing around with this deck with a small Nadir Servant package, so this actually gives us even easier access to Elshtal Winda if you do want to go that route as well and really just run this as a hard control deck. And what would a Memento back row be without a graveyard effect? During only your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, destroy a monster you control, and if you do, add a Memento spell trap from your deck to hand. Okay, so 2 cool notes here. First, any monster you control. Unfortunately, it's only during your own main phase, so no cheeky plays with Memento Mace stealing a monster and then popping it with this to resolve the effect, but on the bright side, this is even more access to our very powerful back row that frees up your smaller monsters' effects for other plays if you need them. Additionally, this can search itself. So while the fusion effect is a hard monster turn, meaning we can't fuse, banish, then fuse again, if we don't need the search effect for our other back row, we can actually search another copy of this fusion spell, set it, and then fuse on our opponent's turn to go into that aforementioned Horned Dragon play, which is pretty powerful. Okay, so those are the new cards, and here are my quick initial thoughts regarding them. Positives first. I think they're both good additions to the deck. Twin Dragon has a lot of potential as a starter in weird hands and as an extender in most other hands. While it can be very situational as a starter, a problem this deck does currently face is having too many normal summons that can clog up your hand. So fusing them together into this guy can help make much better use out of them and cycle them into more useful starters. Additionally as well, because the fusion is a quick play, it can help dodge target negations without necessarily losing out on effects, as remember, the destructions don't target, so there's some interesting plays that can be had there if you do control multiple Memento monsters. Lastly, fusing this on your opponent's turn does greatly improve the usability of Horned Dragon, a card that has been a little bit situational to use at times. The banish effect, as I mentioned, is cool and is generally a net positive, but I don't see it coming up too often. However, I've been wrong about card effects before. And the cons. While everything I said is, again, net positive, it does fail to address one of the biggest issues this deck has in that you live and die by keeping Combined Creation on field. The Horned Dragon play that I mentioned is really cool, but Combined Creation enables just so much more. And while this card can help a lot in getting Combined Creation on the field, it does, once again, not really do anything to help keep it there. Even using this to get Goblin into rotation, your opponent will still have turn player priority to target Combined Creation at the start of their own main phase to destroy it, not to mention any other form of non-targeting removal as well. And while more extension and starter potential is good, again, it is situational in that you need to open the field spell and the proper materials to use it to start, or at a very minimum, access to the field spell. However, starting your combos with a normal summon of Mace to search for it is going to be incredibly fragile. Overall though, I am really happy with these, and I do think they help improve the deck a lot. I still don't think it's consistently going to take out the big decks at the table yet, but it is a net improvement and could solidify this as a deck that could perform well at a local level consistently. It's still missing just a little bit more to push it over, but the wording of Twin Dragon implies that we just might get it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel for even more, and I will catch y'all later.